Hello everyone, my name is Harish, and this tutorial is in continuation of our last video which I made where we created an REST API using Firebase functions. And in that we created this REST API and we deployed it on Asia Northeast region. And today we will be creating a Angular app, and from that Angular app we will be connecting to this API and creating all the CRUD functions. So if you have not watched that tutorial yet, so I will highly recommend please watch it, because there will be a lot of setup, and that project is going to be used as a backend for this tutorial. So in just to do a little recap, in last tutorial we created create, read, update and delete for project. We created a function, and in that function we used Express, Node.js Express to create our API, and we created a create, we read, and read item to read that book. So this book API was created, and then update and delete. So we created all of these and we deployed it on Asia Northeast region. During the tutorial I forgot to create read all API, so offline I added that. So what it does, it just reads all the books in our database and then sends it back. So maybe let's see how that works. So I'm going to go to get and make a request. So it's going to go and read all the available books in our database and that Firestore collection, and then send us all the documents. So that currently there is available 2, 3, so only these 2 books are available. So if we create something again, maybe with ID 5, so if it's still it's creating, and if we do get, so now we are able to get that number 5 as well. So today so far we were creating, reading and doing all the access to this API using Postman, but in real life you will not be using Postman or giving your users asking your users to go and use Postman and do all these operations. So you will be creating an app, and today we will see how we can access this API using an Angular app. So we will do it as we did in last tutorial. We will do everything from the scratch and we will start from zero. So let's get started, and I'm going to open terminal here. So I'm using VS Code, but you can use any IDE which you want. So I'm going to go out of this directory, and I'm going to create a new project using Angular CLI. So if you have not installed Angular CLI, so I will ask you to go and install that Angular CLI also. And to do that, the command is npm install -g Angular CLI. -g is because you want to install it at global level of npm. So once you do that, you will be able to use Angular commands. So I have already installed, so I'm not going to do it again. So once you have installed, you can check whether your installation is proper or not. You can do ng help, and this command should run and give you all the commands which you can do with Angular CLI. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a new project. Let's call it ng new for generating a new project, ng new. And as last time we called our project as API with Firebase demo, so this time we will create UI with Firebase demo, and let's run this command. So it's going to ask you a bunch of information. So you can I just did little bit zooming, so because in last tutorial many people said that text was small and difficult to read. So as I ran ng new for the project name, and then it's asking some bunch of information. So would you like to have Angular routing? So I'm going to do yes. And do you want to use CSS or SCSS? So I'm going to use SCSS. It's up your choice with what you want to use. So once you run this command, it's going to install the packages and create a folder with your Angular project, and it will run it with it will also create a page, Angular page and everything. So it's a real application which you will be getting, and let's wait for it to finish, and then I'll show you how to run it. And so now Angular has this CLI has finished setting up the project, and I'm going to add that folder into a workspace, and UI with demo. And now here we can see it created the whole project, and out of the box we can run this project. So let's do that and see UI, what did I name, UI with. And to run this you can run ing serve, and let's see it will run it on 4200. That's the default port. Oh, okay, it says my port is already in use. Maybe I'm running something somewhere. Yes, I want to use different port. So it's going to use some other port to run it, and since it is first time we are running, it's going to compile all the libraries and create a bundle. So let's wait for it to finish and deploying. So here it's generating browser application bundle, and once it is ready we will be able to check it. So now it has successfully deployed our application or generated our application. So what we can do is okay, which port it deployed? Okay, 5571. So I'm just gonna copy this and go to my browser and access that address. So here it has created this application out of the box, and we will, so everything is there. It's a web application created. Now we will change all of this and create a simple application to access our API. So let's get started and make those changes. So I'm going to stop my server because we are going to make a lot of changes. I don't want it to keep redeploying because it's running in dev mode. So it will in real time it will keep doing hot deploy and keep changing all the information here. So let's take a look at what exactly our Angular CLI did. And it created a project, and there is a package.json, and it installed a bunch of dependencies like Angular animations and like libraries, animation, common, compiler, core, form. So whatever Angular needs out of the box, like RxJS, TSLib, Zone.js. So we are going to use all of this, but there are few things which I need for my app. So we are going to install those as well. So first of all, I need jQuery. So I'm going to do npm install --save and then jQuery. So now jQuery is available. I also need JSON viewer because our response from API is coming in JSON, so I want to use that as well. So I'm going to install another dependency, that is ngx JSON hyphen viewer. So let's wait for this dependency to be installed. And another dependency which I need is a bootstrap. So we will be using bootstrap to create the UI, so I want to install bootstrap as well. So let's install that as well. So now my dependencies are installed. So now since all our dependencies are installed, so let's go and see what is available in our source folder. In source folder there is another folder called app. This is where all our code resides. So currently when we went to this page, which is here behind, so this is our app component.html. so here there is bunch of code which is written. All this code you are able to see here, and for this HTML there is a component created, which is app component.ts. so this component is basically loading that UI, and there is a module folder where all these definitions or declarations are done. So this app module.ts is having the declaration for this component and app component, and also it's doing some importing of some components which you want to import in your module. And it can also have some providers like some security or something, or some kind of providers which you want to use, and then it's bootstrapping everything with app component. So app component is our starting step, and there is something called .spec.ts. so this is where you can write your test code to test your application or unit test your application. So this is where you usually write it, and then you can execute it to test that. And then there is a SCSS file. So currently this is a CSS file where all this UI modification or how to change UI or CSS you can write. Then there is a asset folder. Currently this is empty, but if you have some images or some assets like multiple language support you want to do, so those kind of assets you can provide here. Then we have environment folder. In environment folder there are two files. This is environment.ts and then environment.prod.ts. so environment.ts is an environment file which you use on when you are doing local development, and when you are running it on local, this is where it's going to use this file. But when you do a production build, so with this prod name, it's going to replace this environment variables from this prod file, and this is where you configure your production level settings, like if you have a database setting or some kind of variables which you want to set for your production. Then you have a index.html file, which is the starting view. So it's a single page application. This index.html having app root tag, and this app root tag is created in app component. So here, so this is the app root component tag. So this selector is created, and index is reading this app root, and then from there all the bootstrapping is happening, and the component renders this HTML, and this is how the whole process starts. So so this is how the whole process start. And now okay, so all this thing is there. Now let's start by creating some, changing this app component.ts. so right now our app component is empty. So one by one, slowly we are going to write some code to get data from our API. I'm going to do everything in app component, but usually when you have a project or the actual project, you should create some services, and those services should access your APIs or external APIs, and then you call that service in your component, so that if you want to use same call to database or API you into multiple components, it will be easier for you to integrate with different components. But today I'm just going to write everything in app component to make my life easier, and rather than creating a service. So let's get started. So before we write some code, let's create some environment variables for our API calls. So as you saw, we created a bunch of CRUD APIs. I'm going to give that information here. So here you can see create, read ID, read all, update or delete. So I gave all the API URLs, URIs here, and I will be using these variables directly in my code and then calling those APIs. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to delete this title, and let's create a placeholder for all our book objects, because we are going to start by reading all the documents from our Firestore collection. So let's name it all books. So here you don't have to put semicolon, but I have a habit of putting it because I started my career from Java, so it's still that habit is there. But it's not necessary. You don't have to put these columns, but I like to do it. So next, let's create a async function and call it select all, and let's start by adding a try catch, because we are going to call an external API and we should not be getting an error. So let's do this dot all books and reinitialize it. Why we are doing this? Because every time somebody calls select all, we want to go and clean up this all books array and refill it with whatever information we are getting in real time from our API. So let's create another constant called output and call it using fetch, which is default caller which we get in Angular. So I'm going to use environment variable and then call read all. With this, I will be able to read all the documents available in our Firestore collection. And now why I use await? Because I want to wait for that fetch to finish, so that I have an output and my method should wait for this response to come back. And because I'm using await, I have to make this function as async function. So now let's do another constant and get output JSON out of this await, and I will do output dot JSON. This is the function which is available, and then what I will do this dot all books and replace it with output JSON. Right? Okay, so let's do some console logging, so that as we run it, we will see how it is, what information we are getting. Success, and then do console.log, and let's print out output JSON. And for any error, let's do console.log error. So now so many R's. Okay, so now our select all is working. So let's go ahead and try to use it so that we have easier access, or we can see what exactly is happening. So I have let's create a button on our page so that we can actually call this. So I'm going to go to my app component.html and I'm going to just simply delete everything. So because I want to trigger it and I want to create a button, and on this button, on the click of this button, I want to call my function select all, and then call it select all. I'm doing it just to test it whether what happens when we do this. Now let's do ng serve. Right now it's not going to do much. So now my application has started. So I'm going to go to this and going to go change this, and so right now I have, let's zoom it a little bit. Okay, so now I have a select all function, button. So now I'm going to press it and we are going to see some response coming back from. Okay, so here you see our request to the API was success and we got our API request back. So let's I'm going to create an HTML page where it's much more better than this. I'm going to copy paste some code because I don't want to write each and every line one by one because it will take me a lot of time. So let me do that. So I made some changes to the application. I replaced the UI part. Previously I had only one button for select all. Then I created this UI, and now I'm using Bootstrap to change the look and feel. So for that what I did was I went to my .css and I added this import command. So now I'm importing Bootstrap CSS file, and so I can use all the Bootstrap classes. So with this I'm able to get this look and feel. And then I went to app component, and previously we created select all. So and I created few more functions. I created one function called save item, and I also we will see this. Before that I created a model for that. So I created one model which is called book item, so which is containing an ID and book. So if you remember, we were sending to our API when we were creating or we are posting. So maybe here. So our when we post, our object looks like an ID and a book. So to replicate that object, I created one interface called book item, created a variable ID and a variable book. Then there is another interface book which has title, price and available quantity. Now I go to app component .ts, and then when I am doing select all, so basically this all books will have this model which we have, and then we are going to iterate over it in my app.html file. So I get that all books, and then I get book item out of it, and I created few fields like input fields, and then from that object which I am getting from my REST API, I am iterating over it and displaying those values here. And then I created few more buttons which is update item, delete item and save item. So where I am passing this book item and then going to call the API. So let's look at them one by one. So first of all, update item, let's go here, and update item is here. So what this update item does, it takes the book item. From that book item it creates a request body. If you remember, our request body when we call an update should be anything which is updated in that book object. So I take that book and I create this call using fetch, and from that I am calling the function port similar to our postman request, and then it just saves it. And then I have some for deleting, it's again I'm passing book item, and it's as simple as just getting the ID and calling the delete method. Then create is little bit different. So for create, I have created a create book button. So what this function does, it creates and add an empty book object in our all books array, and with this I add this ID and book, and once that is added, it starts showing up in this array list, and then I can enter values and click on save, and it will save it. So while saving, again my function save function is called. Here I pass the book item, I get the values out of it, and I make the request body which is ID and book, and then I call the post method. So with this I will be able to save it. Now let's run it and see how it works. Okay, so my server is running, and I click on select all. So as soon as I click on select all, it's going to fetch everything out of my API. So right now there is like 2, 3 and 5, which is the same response we get a while back from our get API in the postman as well, like 2, 3 and 5, but it's much better in view, and I can make any changes. So let's change it to 6 and update. So it's updated, and let's confirm whether it's properly updated or not using postman as well. So here you can see the number 2 is updated to 6, and similarly I can create new also. So if I click on create new book, I can give a new ID. Of course, if it's a real application, you will have some validations whether different IDs are given or not. So new book and some price, let's say 33.44, and the quantity is maybe 100 books, and then I click on save. Of course, the UI is not working that much great. Like I don't have much logic to check whether it's update or save. So you can have that if it's a new one, then don't show it, and if it's not, then only the save should be shown. So I click on save. Now it is saved, and it reflected in real time. And just to confirm that again, so I have number 6 also added here. So this is how you can create an API, which is UI for your API, and you can make those calls. So it was as simple as giving those API requests or the URIs. But in real application, you will have authentication on this API. Currently I don't have any authentication done, so that's why it's not I'm not passing any authentication. But in you can have an API gateway like APG or something in front, and then through that you can call this API, and then you will have to give ID and password. So in next tutorial I'm going to show you how to secure this API and make it accessible only if it's called by authenticated application. Thank you.